Well, all right, we got another show to do today. Let's see which one we're going to do. I think we're going to do the well house door frame repair. Now, if I'm remembering right, because I got a file over here. Yeah, we did the garage door, which is a whole finished door set where we have the frame, the trim, everything except for the inside trim, door and the frame, and we replaced the door in the whole 9 yards. We've changed the locks on it. But what actually happened earlier in time was the well house door, and we got in some really crazy prices. And I think the crazy prices we were getting into was because of the height of the door. It was not to my knowledge, but there it was. All of my doors are apparently special order size, and so when I'm used to a $300 door, I'm pretty sure that's all I gave for that door when I put that well house together. You know, I filled the space, and so I got whatever was there, but I don't believe it's more than $300 at best. And I saw $250 and $300. I did want to upgrade from just the wood framing that rots out, because that's a common problem. We saw that in video number 4. In video 4 of this year, we see that they rot out at the bottom. Well, the well house has done the same thing. I wanted to get a full fiberglass, flat frame door, flat door, so to speak, slabbed, as it was, one hole, one bore in it, and the one was $600 some odd dollars, and it didn't have the fiberglass frame. It just had the hybrid that I actually used. And I did find a place that had full fiberglass doors, but they were going to be over $800. And that's even after we exchanged some kind of trim on it or something to get it up there. So they're just really expensive. I only want to do it one time. This time I saved the slab because it was not in bad shape. It was just the frame that had rotted out. So we're going to do this one and get this one knocked out. Well, as I said in the intro, the whole door and frame were not pulled as a unit, as a pre-done door, simply because the size of it would force me to have some sort of custom-made door about $600, $800, and I didn't want to do that. So we got just a frame for I think it's less than $300, but it's not a perfect fit, and it took several days to go through this, get this. So this video, maybe the value you might get out of it is how you actually have to maybe match up an existing door slab to a frame in order to save, $500 or something like that. I'm just trying to get the well house dry before we get all the way through thunderstorm season. Well, I have a door frame. I don't know if it's going to be a fit for the slab that I've already got, because the other one is rotted away. But this bottom section, this is supposed to be a vinyl type of material like we had put on this outside. This is a plastic or PVC type of weather guard, I think is the brand or whatever they say. That may not be correct. And this bottom edge right here, this one piece is made differently. It's made out of a different material. See how they put this in this portion? We do have to paint this, but this portion is a different, because this is where water gets on the bottom when it rains, and it sucks up, wicks up into the wood and rots the bottom of the door out. I'll show you an example of that. Happens quite commonly. Mostly because if this were wood, they don't paint, contractors just don't paint and seal the bottom part right here. And so that's what lets it wick up. So this material is supposed to fix this. This is not the ultimate deluxe version where the whole frame is some sort of PVC. I guess it had to be reinforced for an exterior door, but we're going to try to put it on today. Now this is what I was pretty sure we were going to get. We talked about it when we ordered a frame, because this is a frame that was set up for a stock product of the door manufacturer, local. You see, we've got the hinge, and where the hinge gap is, we've got it pretty well much lined up right here and right now. But when we get that set up, we have a little bigger gap at the bottom where the sweep is, which is not a big problem because we can fix that. But when we get the hinges right, our strike, I don't know if we can see that, maybe we'll get, there we go. See, the strike is off, and it's off by the amount. If we come around to the top, that we are laid directly against the top part of the frame. So I have a choice. I can drop the door down and then chisel away at the door slab itself to get the hinges where I want them to be, or shave off the top and let it go like this, in which case then our strike will be off, and that we'll probably see. But again, it's not a house, it's a well house. It covers the pumps, it keeps things shut. So I think what I'll do is I'll drop it down for the strike, cut out a little bit on the hinge space over there, and try to fill. I have to see how far off they are here, but we can do the old toothpicks and tight bond trick to fill the holes where the holes are kind of stretched out a little bit as they are. All right, here we've got a couple of holes plugged. You can see we've got the tight bond right there. All right, we'll clean that up. We've got them driven in here. That's the excess half. Now that's taken in these holes about 5 halves of toothpicks. All right, so we come down here. We'll see one that's still standing up. You see that tall one in the middle? I'm able to get 4 in here. Get around that side. I don't know if the camera work is exquisite, but then we're going to take a little cheap hammer, and I don't know if I can see what I'm smacking, but I want to drive these into that hole. Now that one went through, so it's not blind, so that tells me that's a hole that I had trouble with already. And it may be because, if you look, there's no 4th hinge screw in this door. That's your quality. Now maybe if we take that same thing and do, 1,000 doors a day, we might save $1.50. Alrighty. I'm going to take this little bit of extra glue, and by the way, don't pay any attention to my shoes. They're farm working shoes, and we're going to take this toothpick, now that we took a 5th toothpick, and we're going to try to push it as best we can right in between those 4. And then we'll come back, take our little persuasion tool, and see it bent over. That's about as tight as I can drive it in there. Now this is the toothpick trick that old grandpa taught us years ago. I've got 4 of these lined out, these 4 halves, or I would prefer flats, they stack better, but they didn't have any, so we're doing round. What we're going to do is we're going to put a little glue on the top side and the back side, and then we'll roll them between our fingers. We don't want to stay focused, do we? We roll them between our fingers. Can't do this and hold the camera both. I'm not that dexterous, but doing it that way, we'll get glue around all 4 sides, and we'll drive them in that hole as far as we can. All right, well, we got a little sweat on the camera, but we got our 3 holes on the bottom and our 4 on the side. Top 2, we got that. Now, like I said, I don't know. I'll think about this when I'm tearing the other frame off. See, the top of that door is made in such a way that we can plane that down. In fact, it's part of what that's there for. So either I got to chisel out all of my hinges, or I can reuse my hinges and my holes here, and I'll just have to do the strike. Now the strike's not that big a deal. It is a well house, it's not a house door, so yeah, maybe not. Now if we look at the sweep, come right here to the edge of the sweep, you have to excuse the grass, the mowers out here in the garage. Sweep's pretty well shot. We can take that off, and I'm sure we can close the gap at the bottom. It's not that much.
Hey, appreciate you watching. Do me a favor, if you will, subscribe to the channel, either the YouTube or the Rumble channel, which this appears in. And if you can, check the notification bell or settings to make sure that you get notified when new videos are posted. Appreciate it.
I'm sure we can close the gap at the bottom. It's not that much. Now you may have noticed I used the green top. Had to go buy some green top. It's more expensive, if I'm not terribly mistaken. Not a whole lot, but see, it says it is wood glue, waterproof, exterior or interior. And here we have a bottle. precisely twice the size, tight bond, same brand, original wood group. Professional strength interior use. Well, you know, it's in the door hinge, but it shouldn't be getting wet back there, so the interior should probably work. But if you don't have tight bond, you might as well go buy the exterior grade. Well, we have recovered from getting the door frame in and adjusted. We do have, as you can see, this is that plastic PVC stuff. This is wood, primed but not painted. We got to paint it. We did have to take off the little drip hat right there. Let's see if our door works. How about that? Now, we move in, we turn on the light. Oh, by the way, how you like it? That door stop right there. It's a heck of a door stop, isn't it? Now we've got her set in there. It looks a little crooked, but it's set, I guess it's set as good as I can get it. Down at the bottom, you see we do have a gap where we cut off the rot and painted it so that we would seal up the edge. Same thing on this side. I've got some 1x4 that we're going to pressure treated. We're going to put in that spot. Now, as you can see, the camera right there, we do have, if I can get it to focus, then we have one of our bolts that we put in to anchor the existing door frame down. We have 7 of these. These are on the inside or the outside of the door toward the inside of the frame. And we had, as you just saw, the 5/16 hex heads. We had 8 of those put in to reinforce or shore up the toggle bolts, some of which had frozen, had rusted tight, some of which were a little bit loose, and so the frame itself was loose. We use these Tapcon style screws, and they are tight. Now here I've cut a little bit of a 1x. You see, that's obviously not 2x, and I wasn't sure if I could get 2x in there. And all I'm doing is plugging the gap. We don't need it for support. Wouldn't hurt for support. But what we're doing with this, actually at this point in time, we're just trying to fill that gap so that if our caulk shrinks and fails, that we will not have a hole there for the animals to pick through, like mice and whatnot, field mice. Now, another detail on this, I don't know if you can see, but we do have a different screw in there. That actually goes through the frame, the spacer, and into the top part of the wood toward the block. Where are we? There we go. We got one there, and you can see it well down on the bottom. That goes, like I say, into the post that holds the lintel up, which is that piece right there. Well, getting ready to do the paint. The blue tape doesn't want to stick good, so on the face of that block. So we're gonna try to hit it a lick, and I promise. It's not gonna really hurt it to get to that edge of the block, but I'd prefer it not look like a bunch of overspray. Anyway, there we have that. We've got that leaning over there. We got to go sand on that door. Well, I think I've got her painted. We got her taped down. The tape didn't really want to hold good against that block, but we got it painted, frame in. It does give it that texture that I don't really care for. That's the reason I don't use that paint gun. I bought it a long time ago. Well, and I just didn't like the way it worked. But out hot, it is sunny,
and I thought I'd get her done. Now, if you'll notice, right there in your screen, there's a wasp nest, and there's a wasp nest. We come over here and we'll find us some more wasp nests. And if we go down this way, we can go see our door that we have painted up. Well, there it is. It's not perfect. Got some dents in it after 20 years, but we got her. We got her looking better than it did before. Well, there we are done. We may have to end up painting the well house before it's over, but we're going to think on that till we get over that idea. And we did end up painting the outside of the well house. We cleaned her up pretty good. I guess that's the third time we painted the outside. The inside needs a paint, but we haven't done that because it's got pipes and everything everywhere in tanks, and it's just a pain. I don't know if I could do that. We did paint the top part of the ceiling with some Kills paint where we had some overflows of water. When we put the new roof on a year or so ago, the roofer used a lead boot system where the vent stack that comes out of the roof, he put the lead sheath on it, and then you fold the top down in there, which looks really nice, and it probably lasts a long time. But the end result was, when we run our water from the goat watering system to the goat trough, and the backwash water that goes to the goat trough, to get it to elevate its way up over into the trough, we have an end block at the end. It's got some holes drilled in it. And what that does is the holes in the end will allow it, it's like an underground faucet. It allows, or hydrant they call it, it lets the water roll downhill and out to the pond area, which is now dry, so that it drains the stack down, the little neck that comes over and feeds the pond, or the bucket, big goat bucket out there. Now what happened inside though is because it's pushing back on it and there's zero pressure in the vent stack and pressure downhill, it can build up, go up that white pipe you see in the roof, comes up, and then because it's got lead on top of it, it just pushed the water up and behind the top of that and flooded the whole little attic space up in there and got all that wet. And we had to get her dried out, and eventually it's a year, maybe 2 years, I don't know, whenever I put the roof on. So I had to fix that, and the roof ceiling side was stained, so we painted it. It looks a lot better. But anyway, that's the end of this show. I'll get one of these other things that we've already got shot. We got to do the door seals, another video, and some other stuff, some humidity control, some ventilation, some insulation, some other stuff. We got it up pretty good shape. Haven't actually recorded fixing the overflow down at the pump, but we'll do that. We got stuff for you to see that I think is just general purpose knowledge stuff. Thank you for watching.